It be me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the Command Post. You know what it is. Post up, take command. I, of course, am your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. As y'all can hear, the voice, it's not as strong as it usually is. I told y'all the kid's been trying to take me out lately, man. So I'm fighting a good fight. Y'all know how I do it. So had a chance to listen to Ron speak today. And so I want to talk about what he had to say. And I thought he had some interesting things to say. I thought the interview would actually be longer. The presser would be longer, but I get it. All those coaches have to speak. So you can't be up there for 15, 20 minutes. It's roughly 5 to 7 minutes for each coach. Get them in and out. And so that's what happened with Ron. But we also did get a quick little off the to the side scrum with JP Finley, a little one-on-one action where JP asked some really good questions. So that's an extension of what that interview was. So we'll talk about that and what was said there as well. Some staff changes took place today. I'm pretty sure most of you guys are up on all of that. But in case you are not, let's take a real quick look at what transpired today. We talked about some of these changes, right? Yesterday, we talked about a lot of these things probably coming to fruition here shortly. I didn't expect them to happen today, right? I said probably after the combine, right? But here we are on Tuesday, having all of these announcements being made. So let's talk about them. Here's the press release from the team. This is the first paragraph. They went into a long spiel about each person's like bio and background. We don't really care about all of that. What we care about is what they're going to do moving forward. I will say one thing about Tavita Pritchard in a second. Let's just read this real quick. So it says, the Washington Commanders announced today that Tavita Pritchard has been named the team's quarterback's coach. Ken Zampese, who served as the quarterback's coach from 2020 to 2022, will move to the role of senior offensive advisor / game management. I told you, when they want to keep a guy, they will make up a damn title for him. What the hell does that shit mean anyway, right? He's just around. Anyway, Brent Vesselmeyer has been promoted from the role of defensive backs coach. So he was on the staff as like an assistant defensive backs coach. So all they did was promote from within, which is what we thought they would do. Okay. Richard Rogers has been promoted to the role of senior defensive assistant / safeties. So he was already on the staff. Remember, his son was tight end. Is he Richard Rogers too? The tight end ended up going to Philadelphia. He was with Green Bay for a long time. I think he was with the Lions as well. Came here, had a cup of tea with us. I don't even know if he made the team. I don't think he ever made the team. Ended up going to Philadelphia. Actually had a really good year that year for the Eagles. But he's going to be the new senior defensive assistant and say, again, what the hell is that shit, right? Just making up shit just to give a guy another role, keep him on the roster of coaches. And Christian Garcia has been promoted to the role of assistant defensive backs Nichols coach, which is what Brent Vesselmeyer was last year and really the last 2 years. So I don't know who Christian Garcia is. We don't need to worry about who he is because his role is very, very minute. Brent Vesselmeyer will be taking over the role departed by Chris Harris. We'll see how he fares there. What you don't see here, what is omitted here is the thing that we were waiting for, which is the wide receiver coach. Remember, that's the one thing they haven't filled. All right, Drew Terrell, who was the wide receivers coach since 2020, now in Arizona, looking to get an upgrade. I think he's going to be their passing game coordinator there. So they still haven't filled that role. I still believe that's going to be Greg Lewis coming over from Kansas City to fill that role here in Washington. He's the running backs coach for the Chiefs, was the receivers coach for a number of years, gave him the running back title this year. I think he's going to move back to the receiver coaching ranks here in Washington. That's still not a done deal, obviously, because it's not here listed. So keep your eyes peeled and ears open for that. But as I mentioned, some moves have been made. Tavita Pritchard, I said I was going to add a little extra at the end there. So Tavita Pritchard was the offensive coordinator from 2013 to 2018 in Palo Alto in Stanford, right? So here's the big thing that you have to digest with that whole situation. Or I think it was 2018, rather. I think he was the He was the offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2022. They ran a very conservative offense. Now, I think that was more David Shaw, okay? And so his role, obviously, coming here is going to be to help massage, Sam Howell, make him a better quarterback, right? And not necessarily have an impact on the offense per se. But listening to Ron talk today, he talked about Tavita Pritchard's background, how he sees the game, and how it marries with that of Eric Bieniemy and how they've known each other for roughly a decade. And I'm like, I hope Eric Bieniemy doesn't see the game the same way. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I would love confirmation that he's not going to run anything remotely close to what David Shaw did at Stanford, because Ron talked about Tavita Pritchard being in charge of a pro-style offense at Stanford, and which they did run a pro-style offense. A lot of running, a lot of 3 tight end sets at Stanford over the last about 5 years or so when Tavita Pritchard was running that offense. A lot of conservative play calling, 3rd and 4, and they're running the football and punting from the opposing team's 42-yard line. A lot of conservative stuff with David Shaw. So I just want you guys to be taking a mental note of all of that. I don't think that's what we're going to get here. I don't think Tavita Pritchard's going to have a substantial role in terms of implementing the offense, but he will have a voice. Hopefully, he's more here to help Sam Howell grow and develop. Again, Tavita Pritchard, and Ron said this, played the quarterback position. He's 36 years old, so he's young enough to really be able to resonate with the players, all right, not that far removed from playing himself, to be able to relate to what these guys are saying, what they're doing, and things of that nature. So I like the direction that they're going in. We'll see if all of these moves translate into wins for the Commanders in the upcoming season. But again, this offseason has been going well. Speaking of which, let's talk about what Ron had to say. So Ron, as I mentioned, spoke for roughly 5 minutes in Indy today. As he spoke, we were able to kind of figure out what Ron, direction that they want to go in with a number of different topics. So he started out talking about Daron Payne. Obviously, that was the biggest news of the day. We all woke up. This broke at 3:30 in the morning. This team always does some shit overnight, while we're sleeping. And yet again, they strike with being the first team to franchise tag a player during the franchise tag period. That window opened, I think, 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it opened today. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly when, but nobody else had franchise tagged a player. You have until March the 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Washington just said, to hell with all of that. We know we're not going to get a long-term deal done with Daron Payne. And I told you guys, just go ahead and franchise tag him. There's no reason to wait. You're not getting a long-term deal done with him before the deadline, right? To franchise tag him. So get the tag out there, slap it on him. He doesn't have to sign it, right? Doesn't have to sign it unless he wants to. And if I'm Daron Payne, probably not going to sign it, right? I don't want to be at OTAs. I don't want to be there for training camp at the beginning. I don't want to be there. If he does, knock yourself out, sign the franchise tag, and keep it pushing. We'll see what he decides to do. Knowing, what these players do in today's era and with the changes that have been made to the CBA, it's not signing that shit. I'm not signing that franchise tag, because then I'm responsible for being there at OTAs. I don't want to be at OTAs. F OTAs, right? So there's no new coaching staff there. There's no one you need to make a new, a big impression on. All these guys have been there. They know who you are. You know the playbook. You know the system. Yeah, I don't need to be there for that. So as far as I'm concerned, Daron Payne probably won't sign that thing until we get closer to training camp. That's when this deal will get done, in July, as I've mentioned to you guys. So again, don't panic. And I tell you guys this every year, and guess what you guys do? You panic, okay? Don't panic. The deal will get done. If they want him, Ron has already said, we could have paid him already. We didn't. We challenged the young man. He responded the right way because Ron said he could have done what we saw players like DK Metcalf do last year, which is come in but do a sit-in. Remember, you can't sit out anymore because the CBA doesn't allow it. So he came in but didn't practice. And Daron could have done that. Remember that we had this big discussion last year when it was reported that Daron left practice early, and Daron was like, "What are y'all talking about, man? I'm here to play ball. Like, I'm not, y'all tripping, right?" So he did everything right. And Ron said he did everything the right way, and then he went out and balled, and now he deserves to be paid, and he's going to be paid. So he'll get his money, all right? It may not be what they ultimately want to pay him, but it's going to be what they're going to have to pay him. So don't panic. You're going to panic because that's your move. That's what you guys do, but it's going to get done. So this was the first move in getting that done. And so we won't hear about this, okay? There will be no news on the Daron Payne front. I already told you, this is a set it and forget it type of situation. They got so much stuff to worry about. This is why they did it now, because they don't want to worry about it. They don't want to answer any more questions about it. You do it now so Ron can answer it here at the Tuesday presser at the combine. Now they don't have to talk about it anymore. Now it's out of sight, out of mind. You know why? Because now there are other issues at hand. Free agency's coming up. You got some guys that are free agents that you want to keep on your team, like Cole Holcomb, XYZ. We can go down the list of guys that they may want to have back. And then you talk about guys that are out there, which Ron did talk about briefly. He didn't give anything specific, which he's not supposed to. But he, now free agency pops up. Then we're going to be thinking about the draft. And then after the draft, that's when we're going to start talking. When we get to OTAs, when we get to that first rookie mini, right? And after that, then the veterans show up. When Daron Payne's not in attendance there and he hasn't signed his franchise tag, that's when we're going to start hearing things. That's when you're going to start wondering, okay, what the hell's going on? Again, don't panic, all right? But you're not going to hear anything about this until probably May now, just so you know. All right, so I was listening to Ron, and he went out of his way to give us clarification on Sam Howell's role. I think he's been trying to do this because we don't want to hear anything other than Sam Howell's the starting quarterback of the Washington Commanders for the 2023 season. That's all we want to hear. And Ron's like, I'm not doing that, okay? We've done this before. I'm not doing that. And he keeps trying to clarify. I think he was very specific today, all right? Like he had to actually go out of his way to be as crystal clear as he could be. Hey, he is not, he being Sam Howell, is not the starting quarterback. He is QB1 going into the OTAs, to the off-season training activities, right? So let's, hold all of the presses on this thing, right? Let's kind of pull the brakes back. Or as I like to tell you, as a wise man told me, pump your brakes and drive slow, homie. Drive slow, right? He's not the starting quarterback. We're going to bring a veteran in here to push him. Ron, we know you're bringing in a veteran. That veteran isn't going to be better than Sam Howell. And you don't want to have to start that veteran quarterback. Unlike Dwayne Haskins, who you should have pushed to the limit and forced to beat out a veteran, and you didn't, Sam's going to put in the work. Sam's going to come in here. He's going to learn the new system. He's going to be ready to go. He's going to make some mistakes because he's a young quarterback, but he's going to be way better than whatever, bridge quarterback you bring in here. Whether it's Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett, Teddy Bridgewater, whomever the hell it is, he's going to be better than that guy, okay? And speaking of which, I've seen a lot of you, talking about Taylor Heinicke. And look, I've already stated I want him back. Ron has already said he wants Taylor back. However, they're not going to get into a bidding war over the services of Taylor Heinicke. They're just not going to do it. And I told you guys every bit of 4 or 5 months ago, I said, we went to Sport Rack and they had Taylor Heinicke's value at like $16 or $17 million. I said, you got to be outside your damn mind if you think Taylor Heinicke's getting anything remotely close to that. You got to be crazy. He's not getting anything close to that. And people are like, you crazy, Louie T. I'm like, first of all, Sport Rack takes guys that are in the same age bracket. Instead of taking guys that are in the same level of play and bracketing them together. Ryan Tannehill in that bracket, which skewed that whole average and made it way up there towards $20 million. Like, Taylor Heineke's not getting that per year. Are you crazy? I told you it'd be closer to $8 million, somewhere in that $6 to $8 million range. Anything north of 8, and he's killing the game, okay? I think that number is probably $7 or $8 million per year. So if you look at what everybody's been getting, it's been like 2 for 11, 2 for 12, something along those lines. How much do they want him? You know, if you want him bad enough, maybe you offer him 2 for, 13. But really you're looking to make it incentive based. Like it could be maybe 2 for 10, but with incentives, it could get to 15 or something like that. We'll see what they decide to do. I do think Green Bay is interested. I never thought I would say this. I think the Packers are interested. Why? Taylor Heineke's kicked their ass 2 years in a row. Like, they've seen him in action and they know what he's capable of. They don't actually have a backup quarterback in Green Bay, right? Jordan Love's going to be promoted to starter. There is no backup in Green Bay. So they might actually be interested in Taylor Heinicke. He wants to go to Green Bay. That's his childhood team. When they asked him at the Super Bowl where he wanted to go, without hesitation, he said Green Bay. Now, if the Packers don't come calling, I'd love to go back to Washington. So there's a team that supersedes us on the chart, if you will. Okay, so I'm telling you that Taylor Heinicke may not be back. And for some of you, you're absolutely fine with that. You don't give a damn, okay? I actually told you, I like the qualities in Taylor Heinicke, and I see the qualities that I love in a backup quarterback in Taylor Heinicke. I've already said, I don't like my backup to be Jacoby Brissett. You know why? Because he ain't going to do shit when he come in the game. He's going to go 13 of 21 for 107 yards and, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, or no touchdowns, 1 interception, or no touchdowns, no interceptions. He's going to have a minimal impact on the game. I want my backup to do something, all right? He might come in and give the game away. He might come in and win the goddamn game, but he's going to do something. Heinicke's not going to come in the game, and you won't know he was there. Jacoby Brissett can come in the game. Teddy Bridgewater can come in the game and leave absolutely no footprints. None. You're like, damn, this is some nice white snow. No one's walked on it. When Taylor Heinicke comes, it's snow angels, all kinds of footsteps, and somebody dove in the snow and fell. You know he was there, right? He's going to throw a couple of touchdown passes, or he's going to throw a touchdown pass. He's going to throw a pass that leads you to a touchdown. He's going to, throw an interception or two. One might be back-breaking, cost you the game, or he might take you down for the game-winning drive at the end. Did that multiple times this past year. Did it a couple of times the year before that. You know he's going to do something when he gets in there. That's how I like my backup. So I would hate to see him go. Ron, I think, wants him back. And you know why I want him back? For 2 reasons. One, there's a level of comfort. I know what I'm getting out of Taylor Heinicke. That's number one. Number 2, I know he's not beating out Sam Howell. Okay? So there's a level of comfort there knowing that I know what I'm getting, and I know he's not beating out my young guy that's going to come in here to try to start. Not that I expect a Tyrod Taylor or whomever is out there, and I'm just throwing out random names. I don't even know who the free agent crop of veteran backup bridge quarterbacks are. Andy Dalton's probably available. He's always available. None of those guys scare me either, but I know what I'm getting. I wouldn't mind Andy Dalton. I don't want him, right? Don't want him. I want a guy with some mobility. Andy Dalton doesn't fit that description, but look, beggars can't be choosers. You know what we should be doing? We should be drafting a young boy in the draft at some point. Honestly speaking, if we keeping it a buck with one another, we should be drafting a young boy with some wheels that can throw it like a Hendon Hooker, in the 4th round if he's available. That's the type of shit they should be doing, but I don't know if they will do that or not. Anyway, I digress. So he talked about Sam Howell, and he said, hey, just letting y'all know, Sam isn't the starter. Okay, just for clarification. Sam is QB1. So he went out of his way to do that. He talked about the free agent approach. Now, I think he did this more so with JP Finley off to the side than he did when he was addressing the masses at the podium. He talked about wanting to have a blend of, some bargain bins, going to the back of the store. I like to call it going to the pink tags, the orange tags, right? Back of the store, grabbing a few items from back there. And then he's like, yeah, maybe, when I first walk in, all the high priced items that are at the front, the new fashion for the season, that shit's where they hike the price up on you. Yeah, he's like, I might take a look at that rack, maybe pull off an item or two. Not sure, right? But I know I'm gonna be shopping in the back of the store for sure. Okay. I think they want to spend a little bit of money this year. They've got the money. I think, and again, Ron's desperate. So I don't think he's looking to be extremely frugal like in years past where, hey, I can roll that bread over the next year. There may not be a next year for Ron. And I've always said, look, man, if you don't know if you're going to be here next year, hey, live it up, man. Let the next person figure out how to balance the budget, right? Because he's going to get rid of the players you brought here anyway if he doesn't like them. So screw it, right? Go in here and just start throwing shit in the cart. You want a linebacker? Throw that shit in the cart. You want a guard? Throw that shit in the cart. You want a center? Throw that shit in the cart. Who cares, right? Now, if you win and you're here next year, now you got to deal with that shit. But I'll deal with that and I'll cross that bridge when I get there, right? If you're Ron Rivera, you got to sell out. This is it. So he sounds like a guy that's willing to spend this year, but it's got to make sense. He's still being a little cautious. And I guess to a certain degree, there still needs to be some form of fiscal responsibility. You can't just go willy-nilly because, again, as I just mentioned, what happens if you actually win? And then you turn around next year and you look up and you're like, shit, we're paying this guy 17. His number spikes to 17. Then Daron's number spikes here. And then all of a sudden you're looking around and you say, what did we do? So you got to be responsible. But at the same time, you got to go for it if you're Ron Rivera. You got to win, man, or you're going to be gone. So I think he's going to spend a little something. If I'm, one of you out there that want him to spend, don't get your hopes up, okay? If you're looking for Tremaine Edmonds, I don't think that's what we're going to be doing. But that doesn't preclude us from going out and getting somebody on the next tier down at linebacker. As I mentioned, David Long is the guy that I've circled, but it could be somebody else there. So again, don't rule us out of anything, but I don't think we're going to be massive spenders, but we will be attacking the offensive line. I'm just telling you right now, we will come away with either a guard and a center, or a guard and a tackle, or two guards. We're coming away with something, all right? Or a guard that can also play center and another guard that's just a guard, doesn't play anything else other than guard. But we're coming away with some stuff on the offensive line in free agency because Ron went out of his way to make it a point of emphasis to say, hey, we need to knock down some of these needs in free agency so that we don't go into the draft with a ton of needs. We can actually want some things. And you want to hear that because you don't want your movement in the draft being dictated by needs. A wise man once told me, when you draft for need, you're one step closer to being out of the league. Okay. So I'm not looking for us to solve all of our problems in free agency. That's not how free agency is supposed to be used. As I've mentioned, you plug a few holes in free agency, but the draft is how you build your roster. You supplement your roster with free agency. You polish it off with free agency. A lot of people think that it's actually backwards, that the draft should happen first and then you should have free agency afterwards. I don't mind it being in the order that it's in. You just got to know what the hell you're doing and what you're looking for. And if they go in there, and I think the cheapest way to go about it is get the offensive linemen. They don't cost you a ton in free agency, right? Don't go after any tackles. That's where you're going to spend frivolous money that you don't need to spend. You want a tackle? Draft one. Get cheap labor. That's where you're supposed to spend the draft capital on the offensive line, is that tackle. You want to get a guard? You find a guard or a center in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. All right? Teams do it all the time. You can even get an undrafted guy to come in here and start for you if you find the right guy, if you know what you're looking for. So don't go and reinvent the wheel by trying to get cute at tackle in free agency. That's not the way to go about it. You want to tackle, get it in the draft. Go in free agency and get you a guard, get you a center. If the linebacker is something that you want to pursue, if you're not bringing back Cole Holcomb, and he said, we need to take care of our guys first. What does that mean? Does that mean re-upping with Kendall Fuller? Does that mean re-upping with Curtis Samuel? Does that mean, getting something done with Cam Curl? Does that mean getting Cole Holcomb back in the fold? I don't know what he means when he references we need to take care of our guys first, because there are a number of guys that they could do something with that have 1 year remaining on their deal going into the final year of their contract. And then there are guys that we look at and say, maybe he gets something done with them, maybe he doesn't. Cam Curl to me is at the top of the list. If you're going to start knocking down guys in the final year of their rookie contracts, Cam Curl is at the top of that list, right? After Daron Payne, who's franchise tag, so don't have to worry about him anymore. Cam Curl is the first guy up. So you take care of him. Nobody's going to be fighting you over Cole Holcomb. He's coming off of an injury, didn't play half of the season. Nobody's checking for Cole Holcomb. So you don't have to do anything there. All right. You can kind of leave him dangling out there if you so choose, and then come back and say, hey, Cole, what's up, bro? So market's already settled. Dust is settled. Smoke cleared. All right. Nobody came and called you. Right. So market's been set. You want a 1 year prove it deal, or are you cool with a 3 year? And then if you want to kind of chop them down at the knees and say, hey, we good over here. If you ready, we can do a 3 year, $21 million deal if you try to do it, and if he's cool with that, come on back, man. We love you. Right. If he's like, nah, I want to bet on myself. Okay. 1 year, $5.5 million deal. Let's do it. Whatever he's trying to do, whatever floats your boat. So there's ways that they can play it, but we'll see what they decide to do. So the last thing he spoke about today in great detail was Eric Bieniemy's play calling. And he kind of talked about, so one thing that I found fascinating was when I was looking up Tavita Pritchard's role, which is going to be the new quarterbacks coach, and I looked at Ken Zampese's role. Let's go back to that, right? Let's go back to what it says. All right. So Ken Zampese is going to be game management. Isn't that an interesting term? Game management. Does this mean he will be in control of when to use the timeouts? Does this mean he'll be in charge of when, hey, Ron, I think you should throw the challenge flag here. Hey, Ron, hey, we're at 2:15. You should call your first timeout here instead of waiting until, after the 2-minute warning and letting all these precious seconds burn off the clock. Is he going to be in control of this stuff? Because when I hear game management, that's what I think of. I don't know. I'd love for someone to ask him that specific question. We'll see. But anyway, Eric Bieniemy, he talked about what he expects from the offense. He had a little joke, when he was talking about Patrick Mahomes, or they said, is there a quarterback on the roster that can run the offense the way that Eric Bieniemy wants it run? And he's like, there's a guy in Kansas City wearing number 15. And very funny. Okay. Shit wasn't funny to me. And then he was like, yeah, no, we feel like, we're going to bring in a veteran. We got a guy on the roster. We're going to see what happens. Yada, yada, yada. Whatever. At the end of the day, this is the Sam Howell show as far as I'm concerned. And Bieniemy said this a million times, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. We're going to do whatever it takes to win. Ron, I told you already, he had clarified the 2-to-1 ratio statement made by Martin Mayhew, and he continues to defend that. He did it again today, where he said it was taken out of context. You guys tweeted about it after it was said and made it a big deal. What we want to do is we want to get the lead, and this is where Eric Bieniemy comes in, because he's going to help us build a lead. And then we want to be able to run the football at the end of games, take the air out of the football, and that's going to get us that 2-to-1 ratio, because by the time we've run it down someone's throat at the end of the game to protect and preserve a lead, it'll be close to 2-to-1. Yeah. That's not what you meant when you said it. But okay, well, if that's what you're going to go with, fine, whatever. At the end of the day, Bieniemy, and I think the thing that people should hang on to when Ron responded to that question about Bieniemy and what he'll be calling is, he's like, look, he's going to do whatever it takes that week to get the win, which is what essentially Bieniemy said. Bieniemy said, we're going to, do whatever it takes collectively for 60 minutes to drag our ass across the finish line. That's essentially a quote from him. May have taken it a bit and turned it around. It could be the opposite, but essentially his message was, we're going to drag our ass across the finish line first when we hit that 60-minute mark. And whether that's running it 37 times and only throwing it 21, or if it's throwing it 37 times or running it 27 times and throwing it 29, or it's throwing it, 37 times and running it 21 times. Whatever we got to do, that's what we're going to do. And so that's what I want to hear. With like this whole, obsession with an identity. This is who we are. The Tennessee Titans, you know what you're going to get. That's cool when you can't do anything. The Titans do that out of necessity. Teams don't want to be one-dimensional, okay? You're one-dimensional because you don't have a choice, okay? If you've got it the way you want it, you want to be able to do both. That's what we want to do. We want to be able to throw it and we want to be able to run it. So looking forward to seeing what happens there. But that's essentially what I have for you today. We'll get to a couple of comments. And I got something a little different for you guys today. We're testing some stuff out over here, right? So I see y'all talking shit in the comment section, like always. But I do have a super chat. So I'm going to get to that first. And then after we get to the super, then we will start chopping it up. So what are we doing here, guys? All right. I got a super chat from Louie T. Really? Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Louie T, who writes, "Ha, got him. Whole mob in shambles." I don't know how y'all continuously get got. Y'all know that's not my thumbnail, right? Anyway, I digress. You guys are hilarious. I thought I saw a new member in here. Let me see if I can track you down here in the comment section. Because I thought I saw that show up on my screen. And here it is. Michael Edwards. Stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. So glad to have you on board. Mob, y'all know what to do. Open your arms wide. Welcome, Michael Edwards. Show him some love, man. Show him what we do, how we get down here in the MOBB. So glad to have you on board. Look forward to chopping it up with you in the future. Welcome to the squad, Michael Edwards. All right. And I think there is one more new member. See if I can track that down in here as well. And then we'll get to some comments, some real, I think I got a couple minutes, so maybe I don't have a couple minutes to do that. So wasn't planning on being up here that long. I just wanted to come in here and knock this out real quick. Get in, get out, and get on with the day. I don't see the other new member. Maybe I'm tripping. Anyway, I digress. So I got something a little different for y'all today. All right, we're going to end the show a little differently today. So for those of you out there, you guys are going to enjoy this. I think this is pretty cool. It's pretty dope. So I'm going to change my background here shortly, right? Change the way that you guys are viewing me on the screen. And what you guys can do is you can input as many emojis, whatever emojis that you want, and they are going to fall down onto the screen. All right. So I am going to be here. So put in any emojis that you want. They're going to fall down onto the screen. And we're just going to see how many of you get these emojis onto the screen. Luck, if you're out there, hey, keep it PG, my man. I know you like to do a whole bunch of nonsense. There it is. I knew I would see a bunch of nuts falling everywhere. Hey, if I see a bunch of nuts, I know exactly who it is. And so got some fireworks here. Got a fist. All right. I see you out there. All right, got some Joker cards. There's the shit emoji. I was waiting on that. I thought I would get a bunch of those immediately. All right, see what else we got going on here. Got some fire trucks in here. A bunch of eggplants. I don't know who's responsible for that. Appreciate the crowns. I appreciate that. Got a couple of basketballs there. Some carrots. Oh, dinosaurs. We got some new ones there. I wasn't expecting that. I think that wrench belongs to Luck as well. Got some footballs in here. Okay. Like what we're doing. Pizza. Can we get some vegan options here? I see some hot dogs and some pizza. Can we get broccoli? Thank you. Somebody representing the kid the right way, man. I appreciate that. Got some chicken. Come on, man. I said some vegan options, man. There we go. Some salad, a peach. That might not be what you were intending it to be, but hey, I'll take it. All right. Got some popcorn. I'm not really a popcorn guy. Those look like chocolate chip cookies. Can we get some oatmeal raisin? That's more of my speed. Got some goats. I appreciate y'all. Not really a watermelon guy. I was expecting some cherries by now. You guys are tripping, man. Where are the cherries? There should have been cherries in here a long time ago. That was your opportunity. Cherries should have been falling from the sky like rain, man. Where are the cherries at? Got some turkeys. They're the cherries. They're the 100 emojis. Like, where they been at? Like, those are supposed to be in the mix from the jump. We should have had cherries coming down from the sky all along. So, oh, I see some juice box. That's got to be my girl, Condo P, with the juice box representing our guy, Benjamin St. Juice. I love it. All right, there go the cherries. There go the cherries. All right, so I knew you guys would enjoy that. And so what we're going to do from here on out is we're going to end the show that way from here on out. All right, win, lose, or draw. Whether we're talking about a serious conversation, if it's really heavy, like somebody passed away, we won't be ending the show with emojis, right? But anything short of that, we're gonna end the show in that fashion. All right. So I got another super chat. And let's get to that super, and then we'll get to a little bit more. Yeah, Mega says, whoever put the eggplant joints in need to chill. LOL. I was thinking the same thing. But you know what? It could have been a female. We can't. Let's not be sexist. It could have been a female who did that. There were a lot of peaches in there, so why not eggplants, right? Anyway, I digress. Got a super chat here from Logan Lodo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Logan Lodo, writes, wonder if your boy, your BYU boy, Jaron, falls back far enough in the draft for us to grab him. That is a great observation, because I don't think people love him the way that I do now. We'll see what happens through the process. He strikes me as a guy that teams will fall in love with throughout the process. I think he's going to be a guy that kills the interviews. I think he's got a chance to go and test really well athletically. How he throws the football, I think will really help him at the combine. I think he's got a chance to really elevate his stock. Now, he did finish the season a little banged up. Hopefully he's healthy now, because the combine is going to be huge for him. If he performs well, tests well in the classroom, interviews well, medical checks out, goes and runs well, which I expect him to, and he spins it well, he could be a guy that could rise in a draft class that after you get past the first 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this draft, there aren't many guys that have announced themselves as, hey, I'm here. Tanner McKee is a name out of Stanford that continues to be brought up, but he's no world beater, right? He's not a mobile quarterback, first and foremost. So I think you're looking at a number of teams that will be looking for a guy that's statuesque like Tanner McKee. There are more teams that will be looking for a guy like Jaron Hall with his set of skills. I told you I want a guy with some wheels. He fits that. He fits that profile. So that would definitely be a guy that I would be interested in. I think we need another young quarterback on the roster. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I digress. I think I got another super in here. Let me make sure I'm not tripping. All right. I love to see the I love to see the I got another Louis T2. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Louis T2 writes, who else could it be but me? Your man, Louis T. Y'all know what it is, man. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know how this goes. All right. Got another super chat. This one is from Will Kavanaugh. Will, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Will Kavanaugh writes, a little late to the party, but after the Falcons release Marcus Mariota, what are your thoughts on him coming to Ashburn? I don't think that that's far-fetched. He played against us last year. He kicked our ass last year. He fits the profile of a veteran backup quarterback. What's his price range will be interesting because he made some good money. He made some good money in Atlanta. I don't, and that's why they cut him. He was standing to make some decent bread. They didn't want to pay him. I'm asking. Let's see. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Marcus Mariota. You know what? I didn't even give that thought after seeing him. I just, Mariota got released. I didn't even give that much thought. He would be interesting. Now that you bring that up, I do think that would be pretty interesting to see if a guy like Marcus Mariota would actually make a lot of sense. And how much do you think that would cost? I mean, I think he was like slated to make like $15 million or something like that, which is why the Falcons cut him. I wonder if he was willing to take I think he would cost more along the lines of that $10 million, like a 1 year, $10 million deal. I think he would qualify for one of those, like the Ryan Fitzpatrick deal that we handed out a couple of years back that everybody was getting. Andy got a 1 year, $10 million deal, but that's to start, right? Those guys were starting. That's why it was 1 year, $11 million or whatever. I wonder if you can get him for like 8 now that he'll be like a backup, like he's not starting. So let's see if I can throw that out there. Or did I mess that up? I actually like that you actually like that you posed Marcus Mariota as an option. I actually think he'd make a great backup quarterback here. I prefer Taylor Heineke first, to be honest with you, though, just so we're clear. I would rather have I would rather have the I would rather have how does everyone see the question? I would rather have Taylor Heineke first, but let me go back. But if you can't get him, then a guy like Mariota makes a ton of sense. I would rather him than like a Tyrod Taylor or a Teddy Bridgewater or Jacoby Brissett. I'd rather him, one of those guys. Him, rather than one of those guys. So Mariota is really interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's something that's a real conversation that we should have. He'll be available now. Understand that we're not the only team in the market for a backup quarterback. And if you don't go fast on a guy like Mariota, I think he'll end up somewhere, pretty quickly. So, I'll be interested to see what happens. I'll let some of those votes be collected. Oh, I see y'all know. I'm a girl Condo P. No, thank you. Okay. Better off drafting young. I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. And I think so. You understand that they're bringing in a veteran, regardless. They could still draft a guy, but they're bringing in a veteran. So, understand that's going to happen whether you sign Mariota or not. They're going to bring in a veteran. You might still be able to get a young quarterback. I don't know if that's on their radar or not. Drafting a young quarterback. We'll see. We'll see if that's something that they feel like is pertinent this season. I think it is, because essentially you're going into the season. Sam Howell is the only quarterback on the roster right now. Heineke is a free agent. They got rid of Wentz yesterday. So you got one guy on the roster. I think you need 3 quarterbacks. One of them should be a rookie if you're Washington. So veteran, draft a rookie, third day. I would not spend a day 1 or 2 pick on that. We'll see what happens. All right. All right, let's get that out of here. All right. So, got another super chat. This one, I tried. This one's from my guy, JP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, what's going on, Lou? What's going on, JP? Really appreciate you as always. Says, what do you think about signing TJ Edwards from the Eagles and then drafting Brian Branch from Bama at 16, can play slot, hit hard? So TJ Edwards is interesting. I like him. I don't love him. Would he be an upgrade on our defense? Absolutely. Wouldn't cost you a ton either. I think he's in that same area as Kevin as Long is. So David Long is. So it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to bring him on board. You'd be hurting Philly and helping yourself at the same time. That's always a good thing. But feel like you could do better than TJ Edwards, even though I thought he was phenomenal for the Eagles last year. If they did that, I wouldn't be upset about it. I'll tell you that much. Brian Branch from Bama at 16, I wouldn't have a problem with it, because a lot of people see him as a safety, but he's really more of a nickel than he is a safety. But I look at him and I say, don't you feel like Percy Butler is the same type of player? Like, didn't you draft Percy Butler to essentially be Brian Branch? So my question is, do you want a true nickel, like a real nickel, or do you want another hybrid? Because we got like 17 hybrids on the roster already. And I know that they want, part of the reason they released Bobby McCain is they want a real nickel in there. And Brian Branch would fit that. But I know they also want a backup to Cam Curl, because remember what happened when Cam Curl got hurt last year. There was no one to fill his spot on the field. There was a huge void left in this defense. And there wasn't another guy that could come in and play multiple positions, come down in the box, be physical, play underneath zone coverage, drop back, play the intermediate, and do all the things that Cam Curl does for this defense. So they'd love to find a guy that can do that as well. So I think it's a couple of things that they're looking for. I would prefer a traditional slot, but if they took him, I think he would fit that bill. Eddie can come down and tackle. I think he's got a chance to be one of the players that I love in this league in the nickel, Kenny Moore. I think he's got a chance to be a guy like that. That'll come up and hit you, but can also cover. So I think Branch would be a great addition, a welcomed addition at 16 if he were available. I really, truly think the first position that they're going to take in the draft, if they don't move, is going to be corner, some form of a secondary member. That's just my take, but we'll see what happens. William Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy William Lee writes, we still have Jake from State Farm. Oh, I forgot they signed Jake Fromm. Yeah, he can kick rocks. He doesn't move the needle. He doesn't have to be here. So you're right. He is on the roster. I forgot all about him. He can go. Yeah, he doesn't need to stay here. He can go right now. All right. Let's see. So I saw a lot of now I'm good on Mariota, don't want to retread. What do you think we're going to bring in? A veteran backup is a retread. That's what we're going to do, guys. So Mariota fits that bill. Now, if you don't want him, that's fine. But don't say I don't want another retread. He's not going to start over, Sam Howell. Like, I'm not worried about Mariota. I'm not worried about any of these veterans coming up and taking Sam Howell's job. But anyway, I see a lot of y'all like, nah, I'll pass. I'm good. I get it. I'm not mad. Mega says DTR. That's a good one. That's not a bad one at all. The mobile quarterback. He reminds me a lot of Kyler Murray. Not as talented, but similar size, athleticism. Don't think the arm talent is as good. He's another guy that stays banged up, though. But he's got some skills. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings 01 writes, I don't know if you've seen all the Snyder stuff that came out today. If that's true, he's been doing some Bernie Madoff type ish. Yeah, I saw it. And I told you, I'm just going to sit back and allow everything to play out, because either he's going to hang himself by the shit he's doing because he's alienating the owners, right? And there's got to be a reason that all of a sudden he was adamant he wasn't selling. And then all of a sudden, yeah, all right, I'm going to get the hell out of here. This was it. This was the smoking gun. This was it right here. And this is why he said, if I sell, I need y'all to drop all this shit y'all investigating on me, including this $55 million. I need all this shit to stop. And they're like, you don't get to tell us what the hell we going to do and not do. If you're going to sell, sell. If you're not, shut the hell up. But you're not going to tell us what to do. Remember, we got money too. Billionaires don't tell other billionaires what to do. That's not how shit works. So I love it because he's putting himself in a situation where either you're going to sell on your own or we're going to force your ass to sell. I love it because for a brief fleeting second, and when I had my doubts, and remember, I came on and I expressed those doubts to you guys. I said, hey, y'all, am I tripping? I'm getting a little nervous. I ain't heard shit. I told you, when it comes to this topic, we need all the news. Good, bad, and different. We need all of that shit. No news when it comes to this ain't good news, because we need shit cycling out. Even if it's shit we don't want to hear, we need it all. All right? Because eventually it's going to be more of these stories about Snyder's dumbass escapades. So trust and believe. He's getting the hell out of here. This isn't a matter of if he's getting out of here. It's when are you getting the hell out of here? That's where we're at. So I love it. And I seen it, the $55 million. That's why he wants them. He pretty much is asking for immunity. Like, if I sell, I need immunity. I need y'all not to come after me after I'm gone. I need y'all to leave me the hell alone on my yacht in England. Leave me alone. All right, then take $5.5 billion and get the hell out of here and stop talking about you want 7. You damn crook. So yeah, I did see that, which is why I think he'll be gone, personally. Matthew, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Matthew writes, Kyler out 9 to 11 games. TH works there. He could, and they're not opposed to getting a Washington retread as a backup. They had Cole. They had Colt McCoy this past year. Really, the last 2 years he went to New York first when he left here, and then he went to Arizona the last 2 years. Heineke would make a ton of sense there. Absolutely. Don't really know who they got. Yeah, they got some shit. They had like Strebler. He's awful at quarterback. They need somebody. Heineke makes a lot of sense there. I think he'll be in demand. But Mariota makes a lot of sense in Arizona too, right? If you're backing up Kyler Murray, you need somebody with some wheels to do what he's able to do for that offense. So Mariota will be, I think, in demand. I think I don't know if Heineke will be in demand like Mariota will, but I think we looked at Heineke as a guy like, hey, nobody wants Heineke. I do think there'll be some teams around the league that say, hey, we wouldn't mind kicking the tires on Taylor Heineke. So we'll see what happens. But you're right. That could make some sense for a team like Arizona. D. Moore, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. D. Moore writes, Jameis Winston competes QB1, Mariota injury prone. Jameis Winston is intriguing, but there's a reason that he couldn't get back on the field in New Orleans for the Saints. That worries me because that opportunity was tailor-made for him to go in there, declare himself the guy, win that team over, and win some ball games. They had some talent in New Orleans this year. Obviously Michael Thomas continues to be injury prone, but they had some talent, with some of the young guys that came in there. Obviously, Chris Olave was outstanding, and they got a young tight end and Juwan Johnson, and they got some stuff. Alvin Kamara, and he couldn't get that job back. They decided that they were going to roll with Andy Dalton, which is a losing proposition. So I worry about Jameis Winston. I really do. You couldn't beat him out. What does that say about you? And again, I know we're not looking for a starter in Washington, but Will Kavanaugh, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, which dysfunctional franchise will win a chip first, Wizards or Commanders? That's easy. It's the Commanders. I mean, neither of them are in a position to win anything of note right now, but the Wizards aren't even close. In the NBA, you got to have legit 2.5 stars, not stars, superstars. They don't even have one. Bradley Beal is close, but he's not a superstar. He's a star. He's not a superstar. They don't have enough talent in Washington to even come close. Like, they're struggling to even get into the playing game. They're not a good basketball team. And they're selling. I think they were selling at the trade deadline. I think. They've been giving away pieces all year long. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Chris, writes, hey, Lou, hope all is well with you and the family. Likewise, as always, Chris. He says, how would you attack free agency for the offensive line? Would you bring back Larson as a backup or injury prone, or consider Cosme at right guard? I think they're going to move on from Tyler Larson. He proved just as injury prone. He proved to be just as injury prone as Chase Roulier these last 2 seasons, and he's north of 30. I think they're going to look to get younger at the center position, whether that be means doing it via the draft or free agency or a combination of the two. I think they're going to move on from Tyler Larson. I've already told you that the Lions have a center I think his name's Brown, Evan Brown, that I'm interested in. He's a center guard combo. Not going to cost you a bunch. Probably cost you, 10, $11 million per year, somewhere in that neighborhood, I think, which is solid money for a combo, but it's not, earth shattering money. If he's good and you trust him, 10 million dollars a year for him. That's the same money we gave to Eric Flowers once upon a time, or the Dolphins gave Eric Flowers, not us. But I think they're going to do something in that guard center market. More so the guard market than anything else. I think they're going to do something there in free agency. And Cosme is interesting because we've had this conversation. Is he right tackle or right guard? I don't know. I don't even think they know yet. We'll know how they view him based off of how they move. If they don't go after any tackles at any point in free agency or in the draft, then they still view Sam Cosme as a tackle, because you still got Cornelius Lucas and you still have Charles Leno Jr. You still have 3 tackles. You still have that swing tackle there. You're good, right? If they attack tackle in the draft or in free agency, then that may be a sign that they view Cosme more so as a guard. So we'll see what happens. All right. Let's see. Dejan Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dejan writes, Lou, what do you think of my Mavericks? I think they're interesting. I think you guys lack that grit and toughness that you had last year that Jalen Brunson brought to the table. You saw that when the Lakers punked you on Sunday. You had no backbone in that game. And while I think the combination of Kyrie and Luka make for a deadly combination, I think you gave away so much of your supporting cast. Like, you got Justin Holiday in late stages of the game. Like, that's not good. You don't have enough of those shooters, the Dorian Finney-Smiths, those types of guys. You don't have enough of those guys surrounding Luka and Kyrie, I think, to get you where you ultimately. You're going to be relying on young guys like Green to step up. I just don't think they're ready. So you're only going to get one shot with Kyrie. I don't think he's going to be back in Dallas after this year. So we'll see what happens. Logan Lodo, thank you for super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Logan Lodo. Double up. I think it's a double up. Might be a triple up. But writes, I hate asking questions like this as much as you probably hate hearing them. No, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Says, but is it worth trying to get Jalen Ramsey? Any intrigue to you there? No, there's not. High price tag. I think he's on the downside of his career. He may still have some good football left in him, but I feel like that's like a Josh Norman type move, right? He might be the first year you get him, but by the time you get to the second year and the third year, it's a steady decline. We're not right there on the cusp of doing something. I told you that's more for a team like Kansas City, who is looking for a veteran to come in, give them excellent play at the cornerback position. A Buffalo, someone like that. I think he's out of our market, and I'm not interested, honestly speaking. I'd rather go the young route, the young, cheap route at that. So no real interest there for me. All right, got another super here from JP. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JP. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, JP, who writes, Lakers lost LBJ just when things were going right. Yeah, I hated to see it. And I heard him say he heard something pop when he was on the floor. So I knew it was worse. He finished the game because he's a soldier. That's what he does, off of adrenaline. But I was looking forward to playing y'all tonight on television, on national TV. We're finally at home on national television. We're always on the road. So I was looking forward to getting a little get back from the last time we played, because we should have beat y'all the first time. But He won't be playing. I'll be disappointed if we don't take care of business tonight. I think we're starting to get our shit together. But it's still, you guys have built a pretty good roster. Like, teams were giving y'all shit. I didn't understand how you got as much as you got without really giving up anything. It was amazing. Your roster's totally been revamped. If LeBron would have stayed healthy, it would have been interesting to see just how high they could have climbed in the West. This is going to cripple you, though. You can't consistently win, I don't think. But this roster is, I think it's better equipped if AD stays healthy to put up a fight. Like, you're not just going to fall flat on your face without LeBron now. But it's going to be a hard uphill battle to climb because LeBron's such a big part of what you do, obviously. So, yeah, that sucks. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Red Wings 01. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, another name that I've seen mocked to us is Maryland cornerback Deonte Banks. He's been seen as a big riser after he lit up the Senior Bowl, and I've seen enough of him to tell you he can play. Has huge opportunity if he tests well. Well, he's the next guy up in the series. I'll be putting that video out if my voice comes back today. I can actually get it out today. So I'm already done. I've already watched him. He's intriguing. I'll talk more candidly about him as we start to dig into the draft, but I'll tell you, he's intriguing. He's got a lot of qualities that you look for, but there are a few things missing with him. So if we drafted him in the second round, I wouldn't have any issues with it. None. He's not a first round pick to me. I wouldn't want him at 16, just so you know. Let's see. All right. So with that said, we're going to do this one final time on the way out. Let those emojis rain down, everybody. Start loading them up. Go ahead. Let's have them. All right. Knew we were going to get the peanut emojis. What do you guys got? Let's see what you got. Make it happen. There's the cherries. Wines. Finally, somebody put some wine in there for the kid, man. Love it. Tooth. That's random. Okay. Bunch of hunnets and smiley faces with the sunglasses. I know we cool in here, man. I love it. Diamonds, some headphones. I like that. What is this gray face? I don't know what that's supposed to be. I need help with that one. There go the eggplants again. There go juice. More eggplants. All right. I got the prayers. All right, I love that. Got some ice cubes, milk, and babies. Okay. Got some tacos. I could go for those. Some rainbows. All right. Some angels in here. Some honey and some fire. What is that guy doing? What is I don't even know what he's doing. I want to know what he's doing. Got some mushrooms, gorillas, spiders. Okay. Interesting choice there. Now we just throwing some random stuff out, I think. Got some money. I like that. Trying to get to the bread. All right. Some donuts. I think somebody's trying to make a statement here. Got some martial arts here. We got some bow and arrows. Okay. Apples. Lots of footballs. I like that. Lots and lots of footballs. Just came off of a cruise. I appreciate that. Cheers. Absolutely. We got some pork here. You know, I don't get down with the swine. As a wise man once told me, lips that touch swine will never touch mine. Anyway, I digress. Got some phones. Got a tub there. All right. All right. Fill it up. Got some pills. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Got some corn, some medals, footballs. All right, yeah. Fill it up. Fill it up. Got some burgers. I hope those are veggie burgers. I was crushing veggie burgers on the cruise. I mean, killing them joints. Coconuts, and that felt like luck. Coconuts, and then followed by nuts. That felt real luckish to me. Anyway, gas. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. All right. So that's gonna do it for me, your man Louie T. Really appreciate y'all joining me on this impromptu stream. We're still gonna be live on Thursday night. That's when we'll start to really prime everyone for the combine, what to look for. I think the real festivities get underway on Friday. So we'll start to really prep ourselves for what to look for at the combine. I'll be live pretty much all weekend long. You guys know how I cover the combine. As I always tell you, I'm watching the combine, so you don't have to. So I look forward to chopping it up with you guys. I think Martin Mayhew will be live tomorrow at the podium. If anything noteworthy is said there, I may come back on with you guys live tomorrow afternoon. But until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you guys next time. You know what it is. It's Command Post. Post up and take command. Until next time, God bless and good night.